So the next thing we're going to look at is the concept of data binding. Now, binding is something that means attachment, a connection. So when something happens here, it also occurs the other side. So things are bound eternally, I would say. And let's first clean up our previous code, and let's do that. Let's work with binding. So with binding, we use another attribute known as ngModel most of the time. Now, the ngModel directive binds or connects whatever we put in an input tag or a select tag or a text area to a property on the scope. Now, the scope in our case is the things we've been doing here. So it will ideally put it in the scope of the viewModel here, this variable. Yeah, that's connected. In some tutorials, you will see certain things that are slightly different. You will see the use of $scope. However, to define a bunch of things. So $scope.message equals hello world. Ideally, this still works. However, there's a move towards less usage of that. But just so that you're aware that exists as well. So we are gonna create one of the things, the elements that get bound easily. And we'll do that using an input tag. Now the input tag can take a text, and perhaps we could take a placeholder and say your first name. Okay, now what happens? When we refresh, we see your first name at the top. I guess I'm going to add a bit of styling so that Bootstrap doesn't tell us weird things. So we'll give some padding on the top, right there. So that's your first name. Okay, in my case, Victor, it could be Jeremy, and so on, right? You've seen some apps which provide previews, for example. As you type something, it gives you a preview of what you're typing and so on. So we're going to design something like that. And the goal is, after typing something, it gets shown preferably here. So for example, we need it to be in a way that as I type Victor, it gets previewed down below here. So let's make it a little bit more granular. Let's add maybe an H4 and say preview below. And then what will happen is we'll have first name. We're just building up a simple app. And we'll have maybe last name and etc., right? Something like that. So that's your main goal, right? Having these things adjust as we type a bunch of things here. And we'll add a second input tag, and we'll say your second name. Right. So as we type the different names, stuff gets here. So what do we do now? So to get this working, we are gonna use a model. And we can introduce that model by giving it a variable here. So let's suppose we have VM, the first name, and we can hard code it. Let's hard code Victor there, and VM.last name, hard code, let's say Mike, right? For lack of another name. When we save that, do you remember having to type this in the past, where you had to type main.first name? When you refresh, it's still here, and then main.last name. Wonderful. Okay, but we want it to be empty and only replace the data that is typed here without even clicking any kind of button or anything. We did this using append and text methods or functions in jQuery. Angular is a bit different. It allows you to do this even faster. So the next step is we are going to introduce an attribute called ng-model, and in there we are going to type main.firstName. And when we refresh after saving, take a look at this. It already defaults, it provides the first name here, but we don't want that. So what we shall do is we'll just keep this as an empty string, and when we refresh, That's it. Notice we will be typing as it gets listed down below. See that? Do you see it as it types? Wonderful. Now, what can we do to get the last name working like that? Now, that would be your assignment. Getting the last name edited. So as I type different things, this part below should get edited. Good luck with this assignment. Thank you.